remaining on his contract over 5 years. Lillard, recovering from a torn Achilles, welcomed the release. He can choose his own destination on his own time. ESPN NBA analyst and former NBA forward, Quentin Richardson.
I'm excited for him, man. I mean, not the best situation, but he's still going to get his big-time money while he gets to sit out and rehab, but he gets to look at the landscape. After this year, he'll be a complete free agent. He doesn't have to talk. He gets to go and choose where he wants to go, so he gets to sit back, get healthy, and see what the landscape looks like and where he fits in best.
Quentin Richardson on the Pat McAfee Show. Raptors center Jakob Poeltl's agreed on a 4-year, $104 million extension with the team. Indiana's Caitlin Clark groin injury won't play in tonight's WNBA Commissioner's Cup championship game at Minnesota. Baseball, Jason Dominguez, 2-run single. Yankees leading the Blue Jays 2-0, bottom second.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Wednesday, I'll continue to tell you why LeBron James and the Lakers are trending towards a breakup and why it will be the best decision for all parties involved. It's on Sportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Go!
Off and running after further review here on a third. Got to get back into the swing of things. Off and running after further review here on a Tuesday, presented by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Musso in for Moscona, fresh off vacation, if you couldn't tell, based off that open there. Jacob Beck and Paul O'Neill along for the ride, and glad you are as well, man. We have a jam-packed show here. A lot of LSU baseball that I wanted to get into, dealing with the portal. They got a commitment earlier on Tuesday, which we're going to talk about here momentarily. Shea Dixon in his normal spot. Couple big announcements for LSU potentially coming on Wednesday. We'll get Shea's opinion on both and where LSU stands. The Pelicans yesterday evening signing a 3-time NBA champion. Jake Madison's going to be here at 4:15 to kick that around with us. So we got baseball, we got football. We have a ton here to do on this Tuesday. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
I have a very limp mic over here as well. All right. Jay Johnson, LSU Baseball. Fresh off national championship number 8. That was fantastic, by the way. Enjoyed all 18 innings of that from the beach. They got it done when they needed to. Gave a lot of thoughts on that post-game. But they're fresh off number 8. And I'll be damned, Jay Johnson's working on number 9. Pretty fast and furious so far in the transfer portal. 5 additions, the latest coming here on Tuesday. Lefty Santiago Garcia out of the University of Oregon, the third left-handed pitcher that LSU has added in the transfer portal so far in this cycle. Of course, he joins Danny Lockenmeyer from North Dakota State and Ryler Smart from Tennessee. So let's talk about Garcia a little bit here, what he brings, and then I kind of look at an overview of the LSU pitching staff heading into 2026 as it stands here, because it's far from done, but right now, it's already exciting to look at. Garcia, sophomore, 2 years of eligibility left, just completed his sophomore year at Oregon. Actually, from Las Cruces, New Mexico, went to Centennial High School, was a teammate of Stephen Milam. So they'll reunite in Baton Rouge. That's a really cool aside there. He started his career at Central Arizona Community College through 22 2/3 innings there. Over at Oregon in 2025, led the Ducks in appearances out of the bullpen with 24, a 4.20 ERA. Fastball will get up to the low to mid-90s. Got a breaking ball, a curveball really from the left side, and a changeup. So you're looking at a guy with pretty good heat on the fastball, a 3-pitch mix. What type of role can he fill? We can get to that. But 3 things that I really, really like about Garcia. Number 1, he has pitched an awful lot. 16 appearances in junior college, 24 at Oregon. That is 40 appearances in college baseball. That's a guy, like when you look for someone in the transfer portal, you are looking for someone to come in and immediately impact your team. That's a guy that, based off of experience, should be able to come in and immediately impact LSU's team in 2026. So I love that. Number 2, and maybe this really should have been number 1, is he appears to be a strike thrower. This is a guy that in junior college struck out 38 and 23 2/3. A year ago at Oregon, in 30 innings, punched out 40 and only walked 19. 19 in 30 innings, you'll take that. In fact, 6 of those walks came in 2 outings. So in the other 22 outings, he walked just 13. That's strike throwing. And when he's in the zone, he's really good. The opponent hit just 170 off of Garcia. Down the stretch of the season, I believe it was his last 10 2/3 innings I counted up earlier today, just 1 earned run. The third thing is that he's left-handed. Because when you look at LSU and their bullpen at points this season, early, one criticism was not enough consistency throwing strikes. Well, certainly you look like you've addressed that here with a guy like Garcia. We just went through the strikeout and walk numbers. And the other thing is, until Cooper Williams emerged down the back end of the regular season and specifically in the postseason, LSU was searching for that left-handed option out of the bullpen. You were going back and forth between Williams, between Primo, between Connor Ware, and nothing really stuck until Cooper Williams said, I'm going to take hold of this role. You need reliable left-handed options on your staff, but especially out of the bullpen. And you're seeing LSU clearly make that a priority by adding 3 of them here so far in this portal cycle. And I love that. I think it could also tell you a little bit more about potentially what type of roster turnover is coming for LSU, which we can get into that a little bit later in the show. I have a segment earmarked to kind of talk about numbers and decisions and everything that guys have to make as the transfer portal comes up on its end and we've entered MLB draft month. What role does Santiago Garcia fill for LSU? For me, he's a relief pitcher. Could you give him an opportunity to earn a starting spot? Sure, he's got 3 pitches, but this is a guy whose longest outing in his career across junior college and the season in the Big Ten at Oregon, his longest outing is 2 1/3 innings. Last season at Oregon, he threw 40 pitches twice. That's as high as he went. He feels like a bullpen arm. What I do love about that, though, is he's a guy who's versatile because he has shown the ability to give extended relief. He had 4 saves a season ago, so he can close the game out for you on the back end. He can be a bridge guy, potentially if you have someone else in mind to close. I love the versatility that Garcia provides LSU. That would be thing number 4. So, experience, strike thrower, lefty, versatile. Huge pickup, I feel. Now, when you look at LSU's pitching staff as a whole, heading into 2026, this is where it can get really exciting already on July 1st. Because, look, in a perfect world, like let's just set up the perfect world scenario for LSU. In the perfect world scenario, Kason Evans and William Schmidt are your 1 and 2 in your rotation. Pick your order. I don't really care. That's the perfect world. And maybe you go get another starter out of the transfer portal. That's great. I think they will do that, as a matter of fact. But when you look at what they have behind that in the bullpen, you're looking at Cooper Williams. You're looking at Maverick Rizzi. Gavin Guidry is going to be back from injury. Devin Sheeran's going to be back from injury. You've brought in Garcia. You've brought in Lockenmeyer. You've brought in Smart from Tennessee. And then you get into a bunch of guys who pitched well this year who potentially have a decision to make, like a guy like Zach Cowan. Jaden Newt. What is Jaden Newt going to do? He's draft eligible. He's only really pitched one full year at LSU, but man, he really had his moments. You get that guy back, you're looking at this pitcher. You talk about someone who could move into the starting rotation potentially. He'd be a candidate for that. I mean, you just run through the names that even you could potentially have back. And you're already looking at 9, 10 guys that you feel really good about potentially on that pitching staff. Some guys are going to have to take the next step for that to pan out. Like, you're going to need William Schmidt to take that jump similar that Cade Anderson did. I'm not saying William Schmidt has to go out there and be arguably the best pitcher in college baseball, but you can't have an ERA of 27 in the SEC, right? But I think Anderson's the test case for that. You're going to hear that comparison a lot in this offseason when talking about the jump William Schmidt could make, because he's in that spot. Anderson's ERA in the SEC his freshman year was like 24 or something like that, 22, 24. Now he's likely going to potentially be the first pick in the draft. Again, not saying Schmidt has to be the best pitcher in college baseball, but you understand, like, you've seen it done with Nate Yeske already at LSU. Can Maverick Rizzi kind of make the jump from a guy who had a 4.7 ERA as a freshman? Can he take that jump? He already appeared for you 24 times. Feel really good there, man. I mean, that's between those 4 freshman arms that you had a year ago, all back, adding these 3 lefties in the transfer portal, and potentially moving Casey Evans just to the front of your rotation. It's hard not to get excited potentially already about the LSU pitching staff. They're not done. Like, they are not done there. LSU's not just going to bring in 5 guys out of the portal and 3 pitchers. Expect more news coming fast and furious for LSU as they continue to turn over and rebuild on a great foundation, mind you. Hopefully, the next team to go win a title. I got plenty more on LSU baseball to start the 5 o'clock hour number 3. We're going to look at the roster, do our best rough math at where they might stand now. Again, there's a lot of decisions to still be made, but the transfer portal window is winding down. The MLB draft is this month, so we'll get into all of that as the show goes on here on a Tuesday edition of AFR. Right now, we're going to grab a break. We'll come back on the other side. Shea Dixon from On3. He will be here in his weekly spot to talk recruiting. Couple big decisions for LSU potentially looming on Wednesday, as well as a commitment already in the boat over the weekend. That's next with Shea Dixon here on AFR.
After further review.
We're brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Gents, it doesn't matter what your age is. That age is a number. It's about how you feel. You remember what it was like when you were in your 20s or your 30s and you woke up in the morning, you had tons of energy to go to work, to play with your kids in the yard, to get to the gym, to feel vibrant. And as you age, you don't feel like that much anymore. It's harder to lose weight, harder to get motivation to go to the gym. You wake up feeling sore or tired. Maybe your love life isn't what it was. It doesn't have to be that way. A simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate for hormone replacement therapy. And at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, there's never any contracts, and they have the lowest prices. You can get to start feeling better for as low as $125 a month with no contracts. It's Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit them online, yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
You gotta believe in a dream.
Believe. You gotta believe in the dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Cavon office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Cavon have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
All right, rolling along here, Tuesday edition of AFR, presented by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Musso in for Moscona. It is a Tuesday, though, and recruiting season is in full swing, so we turn to Shea Dixon in his normal spot here with us on 3 the Bengal Tiger, on Twitter at Shea Dixon. Shea, we appreciate the time, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. First day back from vacation for me, so I had to plug back in. But that happened early.
Vacation, just LSU winning it all in baseball, or is that separate?
I mean, Shea, that was part of vacation. That was the first 2 days of vacation, and it really couldn't have started any better. And it just got progressively better actually since that moment. That was a great 18 innings of ball. I really enjoyed that a lot.
Once they won it all, you decided vacation extended.
Yes, it did. And, look, I mean, Omaha's a great place to take in an LSU national championship. I will tell you probably the second base place is Destin, Florida, because that's where I was. And, man, that was starting your day on the beach and then watching LSU hoist a trophy. Pretty good Sunday. Can't lie. Pretty good Sunday. All right, Shea, let's talk about what could be a pretty good Wednesday for LSU. Couple big announcements with LSU in the finals. Coming tomorrow on the 2nd. Let's start with Trenton Henderson, defensive edge, a 5-star. How do we feel? I know you earlier, along with Steve Wiltfong, had some predictions for the RPM there. Where does LSU stand with Henderson?
I think if he were announcing right now, and look, we're 24 hours out from it basically, that LSU is the team to beat. And they were one of a number of teams that landed official visits and unofficial visits this off-season. But in the past month, the past few weeks, it's come down to LSU, Florida, Texas, and really here in the end, LSU and Florida. And we're talking about a kid out of Pensacola who is a top 100 prospect. He is ranked as, I think, right around one of the top 10 edge rushers in this class, maybe number 11 overall. So very highly thought of player. I'm leaning LSU. And then the fun fact here, to tie a little bit more with your Destin discussion.
Let's go.
Pensacola is closer to Baton Rouge than it is to Gainesville. Now it's 100 and something miles, but still, I think this is, when you think of a Florida kiddo, is he really going to leave the state? Well, the distance to drive is actually closer to Baton Rouge, but both are obviously drivable I think that just distance isn't a factor in this one, I think, is what I'm trying to drive home here.
So with Henderson on the edge, I mean, where would LSU kind of focus more on the defensive line after that? Is this the first of many kind of for LSU in that spot potentially if he does pick for the Tigers, or is I guess a better way to ask that, Shea, is if Henderson doesn't pick LSU, where would they go at edge?
I think that the next guy you're watching is Jamarian Carlton. He's an edge rusher, another top 10 guy, another guy that they hosted on an official visit this past month, and it was sort of felt like they were going to end up with one of them, right? And ultimately, I think that probably will be Henderson, who announces tomorrow. But not far after that, we'll hear another announcement, obviously coming out of Lone Star State. I think in about a week. So, look, Jamarian Carlton could well go to Baylor. That's the school closest to home for him, and the in-state schools, Texas A&M, had all hosted him and been on him, but there's some buzz that LSU's in the mix. I think, again, though, it's going to be tough to pull him out of Texas, and maybe even more so if they land Henderson.
All right, so Henderson, he's not the only one. Let's go from Florida to Alabama, and that's where we find Jaden J.J. Bush, a linebacker who has LSU in his final and will announce on Wednesday as well.
Yeah, so it could be a double dose of commitments tomorrow if everything goes well for LSU. We've seen some other teams kind of have a run here after LSU and Southern Cal jockey back and forth for the number one class all offseason. Georgia got hot, Notre Dame, Bama. So this kind of top five is shaking up a bit over the summer as all these kids go into July saying, hey, look, I'm going to be a senior. A lot of them early enrolled, so it's like I'm just going to focus on school, football, my final semester here in high school. So they make decisions now, and I think that when you look at J.J. Bush, LSU's led the whole time. He's been the number one priority at linebacker and kind of really one of the only ones that Blake Baker has really prioritized this cycle, given he's got some depth there. Obviously, there's always the portal. So I think they felt like if they could get J.J. Bush, that'd be a win, and anything else is lagniappe. And it's LSU, Arkansas, Missouri. And look, we're in the NIL era, and teams like Arkansas and Missouri who value a guy like J.J. Bush, these final 24, 48 hours can get nervous, even if you're the lead team like LSU is. But I've got my pick on LSU for both guys we talked about. So let's see if I end up 2-0 or 1-1 or 0-2. Hopefully not tomorrow. But, yeah, I think it'll be a good day for the Tigers.
Shea, talk to me a little bit actually about the job LSU's done at linebacker recently, because, I mean, the class they brought in really headlined with Charles Ross in the last cycle, who they're extremely high on. But also, obviously, I mean, you look at Whit Weeks and the Weeks brothers, and now potentially a guy like Bush. It seems like Harold Perkins, obviously a couple cycles ago. It seems like the recruiting at the linebacker position has really, really turned up for LSU here over the last 3 or so cycles.
Yeah, I think that Blake Baker's done a good job, and they've identified guys well. And look, they've got Louisiana guys young on the roster, Tylen Singleton out of Manny, who a lot of people thought might go, elsewhere, and he ends up at LSU. And then even this past cycle, a lot of people kind of forget Jaden Breaker was a 4-star assigned with him at linebacker and finished as a top 100 prospect. And while everybody else early enrolled, he didn't. So they didn't watch him. We didn't see him in spring ball, but he just went out there and did track and field at a high level in Georgia and runs 10-something in the 100 at 220 pounds. So Charles Ross, him, look, Keelan Moses from U-High, you've got a solid class that you just signed, and you've got a number of guys that you've got there that are young. So, like I said, I think Blake Baker's thought is if we can get J.J. Bush, someone that I've valued from the start, anything else is icing on the cake.
Talking with Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger, with us every Tuesday here on AFR. Of course, you can get him on Twitter, X at Shea Dixon. Shea, so that's what LSU could get on Wednesday, but over the weekend they did get good news out of Franklin Parish. Des Ellis pops for LSU. I believe it was on Saturday. What can you tell us about Ellis?
Yes, Franklin Parish shout out, stand up, the first Franklin Parish High player to ever commit to LSU. Obviously, Booger came out of Winfield back in the day, but when they consolidated the schools up there, now they've got Franklin Parish High, and that's where Des Ellis has been. And look, this was one of those. It almost kind of reminds me of Pat White throwback days, but he was down to LSU at corner or West Virginia at quarterback, and he was great this year, kind of just being an all-around athlete, and I think he really entertained it. And but in the end, he said, "Look, staying home, playing for Corey Raymond at LSU right now, and and then believing that my upside to potentially play on Sundays, let alone shine in college, is highest at cornerback. So he shut it down, committed, and that was a big win for him, because I wouldn't be surprised with Haven Finney also committed if that doesn't wrap up the corner class, which moves much like linebacker. It's like, gosh, they have a lot of good young guys, and if you don't overload the recruiting class, you got a chance to hold on to a lot of them. They don't transfer out. So can Corey Raymond get a shot to develop some guys here over a couple of years is what we're looking forward to.
You answered my next question, because I was going to ask you if they were done at cornerback actually after that with Finney and now Ellis. So okay, if they're done there, then I mean, yeah, and you're right. I mean, that was the reason for bringing him back, right? Is okay, just go recruit us the dudes that you recruited in the past at LSU, and it certainly seems like Corey Raymond has done that in spades so far for Brian Kelly. That really takes care of this week. There's a big announcement next week. A week from Thursday, Lamar Brown is going to make his decision. Any update? I know he took his LSU visit. Any update on where that might stand a week and a half away now?
Look, it's Miami, Texas, all those schools like that got official visits and got talked up at the end. But I've said so many times when you've had me on the show and Moscona that I think it's A&M or LSU, and I think it has come down to that. I'll tell you that I don't think either of the schools would tell you right now that they have no worries at all about what happens in a little more than, a week, 2 weeks away, whenever, still a little bit out here. But look, it's the NIL era, and I'm not speaking just to Lamar Brown, but all recruits, even more so when you're a five-star and the number one player at your position, and SEC schools are after you, and, you got an agent and all that NIL is involved. And, you're going heads up against A&M. Look, this is what they do. They have to go heads up against all these schools, and I think that's what we've seen LSU take a lot of growth there in that area, and have just a lot of kind of the structure and approach since, Scott Woodward and Brian Kelly obviously brought Austin Thomas back. They'd been at Ole Miss when, kind of in the NIL era, Ole Miss jumped out to a pretty fast start. So I'm not saying, look, Lamar Brown's coming down to that. I'm just saying these are those moments where everything gets discussed. So whenever that happens, it's sort of like, hey, look, nobody feels great about it until he's committed, and then you really don't feel perfect about it until a prospect signs, which is still 6 months away. But look, it's a battle. But my pick's on LSU. I still think it's LSU, but I am not discounting the push A&M's made. And hey, look, the reality of what we've known about the history of pretty talented kids out of U-High that have gone to high school on LSU's campus, more often than not, or at least 50% of the time, end up kind of leaving the state and trying something new. So I think that we'll have a little bit more clarity as his decision gets closer.
He's Shea Dixon, on 3 Bengal Tiger. He's the best. We appreciate it as always, Shea, and we'll do it again next week, man. Thank you.
That was kind of you. Yeah, checks in the mail for you.
Thank you, Shea. I appreciate it. Look, I'll take anything you got. I promise that.
Yeah, they're coupons, but yeah, they'll work.
Hey, I'll take the coupons. Look, man, it's radio. I take free stuff. I'm good with that. Bring food up here one day and see how long that lasts around everybody up here. It's going in a flash. We appreciate it, Shea.
Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Again, that is Shea Dixon. Without further review, Musso in for Moscona here on this Tuesday. Scone is back with everyone on Monday. He's enjoying his last week of vacation here. And, man, football season right around the corner here. I really kind of noticed that settle in, do some prep for the show today. It's like, man, here comes magazine season. Here comes all of those things. You had the Manning Passing Academy. Garrett Nusmeier spoke there. We'll have some of that later in the show. Shea there. You got 2 recruiting announcements tomorrow. Hopefully LSU lands both. We'll give you plenty of reaction to that, obviously, on tomorrow's show if they do. We're going to grab a break right here, though. Come back, an honor for Whit Weeks. Speaking of a lot of football, an honor for Whit Weeks, and we'll go around the SEC next here on AFR.
After further review.
We're brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham. Mid-City on Don Moore, Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. You know those 4 locations, and what an awesome time to get by Clegg's Nursery because they still have every single day shipments of flowers coming in, plants, trees, shrubs. You want to beautify the exterior of your home. You want to add that pop of color to your flower bed, to your patio pots. Maybe you got unwanted pests like ants or snakes or mosquitoes, wasps. They can help you take care of all of them. Maybe you got weeds coming up in your lawn. You want to get rid of that. Maybe you got dead spots in your lawn. The horticulturists, the professionals at Clegg's Nursery have the knowledge, the know-how, the expertise, and all the products you need to win Yard of the Month every month for your whole life. Guaranteed. Actually, I can't back that up. You have to do some of the work, too. It's Clegg's Nursery.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
We're brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Remember, you can always download the Rouse's app. I encourage you to do that. If you're shopping, download the Rouse's app. Select your items. Your personal shopper will go pick them out for you. You pull up in one of the designated spaces, and they'll bring it out to your vehicle. It's at Rouse's. Go to Rouse's.com. You can find the location nearest you at Rouse's.com or in the Rouse's app. And as always, boy, no matter what you're looking for, they got you covered. May is Pet Month. You may not know that. So they've got tons of great items on sale all month long for your pet, from treats and dog and cat food and all different types of things, supplements. You can check it all out at Rouse's all this month at May, with it being Pet Month. So treat your best friend, courtesy of our friends over at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Find the location nearest you with 70 locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach, Alabama, and points in between. It's Rouse's. This feels like home.
Tuesday's AFR presented by Sunshine, Sunny Quip, JD, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Musso in for Moscona. an honor for Whit Weeks. We just kind of closed that last segment talking about, it's football off season. You'll see preseason All-American list, magazine season, like all of those things. It's here now, July 1st on the calendar. SEC Media Day is a couple of weeks away. And Whit Weeks today named second team preseason All-America by Walter Camp. They announced those teams on Tuesday. Only Tiger honored. Of course, he's entering his third season. He's played in 24 games, 14 starts, and really had the breakout in 2024 for LSU, really specifically after that injury to Harold Perkins. Finished number 2 in the SEC in tackles a season ago. Was twice named the SEC Defensive Player of the Week. And look, while it's for what it's worth, one of those was against Ole Miss in the overtime win. He had a career-high 18 tackles, and then the next one was 17 tackles against Oklahoma. But Weeks is one of those cornerstone guys that you're looking for this season. Obviously, the experience, the breakout, how does he build off that? It's his draft year, all of that. But he's coming off the Achilles. He's coming off the injury. He's cleared for football activities. That's great news for LSU. He's been taking part in all the player-led stuff here in the summer, and you'll have him ready to go practice one of fall camp. And that's obviously going to be a major cog for LSU, and it's one of the things that's more exciting to me about the defense, especially given the change with Perkins, because you'll be able to get Perkins and Weeks on the field at the same time and in spots that fit both of them. I don't want to say perfectly, but better, right? Although I do think Star fits Harold Perkins pretty perfectly, but better. And that should just, that in of itself, ignore everything you did in the secondary and bringing in the studs you did at edge rusher and whatnot. That in and of itself, having those two players in a better spot on your defense on the field at the same time should automatically just make you better on the defensive side of the ball. So that's huge, man. Look, it's been awesome to watch Whit Weeks here for the first 2 seasons at LSU, and this is a guy who I think he comes in, he has a season similar to what he did in 2024. Who's to say Whit Weeks can't play himself into the back end of the first round, or at least an early day 2 pick? So I mean, there's a lot to be had, a lot to be made for Whit Weeks here in 2025, and hopefully that ends with a national championship or at least a playoff appearance for LSU. So congratulations to Whit Weeks, second team preseason All-America from the Walter Camp Football Foundation. He'll also be up for probably plenty national awards. Wouldn't shock me at all to see Whit Weeks in running for the Butkus and maybe even holding that up. So, I mean, again, it's a guy who was number 2 in the SEC in tackles a year ago, top 10 nationally. That put him on everybody's radar. You know how these awards go sometimes, right? That put him on everybody's radar. He comes back, has a really good season again. You could see him in that circle and potentially hoisting the award as well for the Butkus. So a lot on the line, again, for Whit Weeks. Here as he enters his 3rd season. And again, congratulations on the All-America honor. All right, we're going to go around the SEC here momentarily, but first, we'll throw it to Matt. He'll give you a quick liner on South Point Volkswagen.
As we get on down the road, remind you about South Point Volkswagen, airline just north of Highland, and SouthPointVW.com, new and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com, SouthPointVW.com. One of the things that's really worth stressing when I tell you all the time about why I love driving a Volkswagen. Remember, at South Point Volkswagen, their vehicles are manufactured right here in the US of A. So you get the great German engineering, safety features, performance, all of it, without the cost and the benefit of supporting American jobs. But even more importantly right now, as people talk about tariffs and rising costs and all that stuff, these vehicles are manufactured in the US of A, so you don't even have to worry about the tariffs and all that conversation. So another benefit of shopping at South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, and they're awesome people as well. Volkswagen, so much it's a culture, it's a vibe, it's fun to drive, and they're fun to deal with as well. Airline just north of Highland, South Point Volkswagen.
All right, let's keep it moving. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Auburn Tigers.
Former 5-star safety and Louisiana native Jacoby Matthews is transferring to Auburn. He himself confirmed the news to Auburn Live over there at On3. Matthews was the number 1 ranked safety in the 2022 class. Remember, he signed with Texas A&M that cycle. He himself, and speaking to On3, said he will be on campus and enroll for the fall semester, quote, sometime within the next 2 weeks. Everything is a done deal. Played 21 games for the Aggies, totaled 66 tackles. He'll head to the Plains.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Alabama reeled in a wide receiver, Owen Cable, on Monday evening. Cable is a 3-star out of Nashville. Picked the Tide over Vanderbilt and Illinois. 8th commitment in 8 days for Kalen DeBoer in this current class. Gives him 14. He's the number 222 receiver and the number 54 overall prospect in Tennessee.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Sam Pittman, they just keep rolling along. They're up to 24 commitments in the class of 2026. That happened when 2026 cornerback Victor Lincoln flipped his commitment from Oklahoma State to the Hogs. 6 foot, 165. He's been committed to the Cowboys since late April. He's a 3-star and the number 62 cornerback in the country.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
As my papers stick together. Georgia gets a surprise on Monday night on the recruiting trail. Preston Carey, a defensive lineman out of IMG, committed to Georgia over Florida and Rutgers. Carey is a 3-star. He's the number 51 defensive lineman in the nation and is now commit number 26 for Georgia in 2026.
The Missouri Tigers.
Eli Drinkwitz, they get good news on Tuesday up there in Como. In-state offensive lineman Braylon Ellison pledges to Mizzou. He's out of Boonville in Missouri. Interior O-lineman, Mizzou legacy. His father and brother both played for the Tigers. 6'4", 285-pounder, a 3-star, the number 49 interior offensive lineman in the nation.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
And a significant baseball note here for the Bulldogs. Ace Reese will return to Starkville and play for new head coach Brian O'Connor. Kendall Rogers confirmed that news over at D1 Baseball with Reese himself on Tuesday afternoon. Reese started all 57 games for the Bulldogs at third base, hit 21 homers, led the Dogs, .352 average, and drove in 66. He was awesome, and plenty of teams came for him. But in the end, Brian O'Connor and the Bulldogs win it out, and Ace Reese will play his draft year in Starkville. That is around the SEC. This is a Tuesday edition of AFR. I'm going to grab a break. When we come back, saw something interesting. So a bunch of ESPN, talking heads, right? Heather Dinich, Paul Feinbaum, EJ Manuel was involved in this over at the ACC network. They discussed some win totals and where they thought teams would fall. And the two that are in particular interesting to our audience would be Clemson and your Fighting Tigers of LSU. We'll tell you what they said next here to close out hour number 1 on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, 2 beautiful hotel properties in Baton Rouge, the Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown right there on Bluebonnet. And when it comes to hosting your event, both the Watermark and the Renaissance are perfect. The Watermark is a gorgeous, elegant spot in downtown Baton Rouge. That wedding reception, that smaller gathering, that meeting space, they can do it. They've kept so much of the history and tradition of that iconic building while modernizing it. The Gregory is a great restaurant inside of the Watermark as well. And then, of course, the Renaissance Hotel, Southtown, right there on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. It's more modern. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous hotel property at the Renaissance Hotel where they have meeting space that can accommodate up to 500 people, 7,000 square foot of meeting space, perfectly located right off of Bluebonnet and I-10. It's the Watermark and the Renaissance Hotels in Baton Rouge.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
For real rock, it's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. You know, when we talk about Relief Windows every day, I always say windows, doors, siding. And now shutters as well. They do your indoor shutters. Same thing as the windows. Custom made, measured to fit your windows, custom fit for your windows, lifetime warranty on your windows, your shutters. But Brandon, you often hear say their #1 product is customer satisfaction. And that's not just a catchy line. That's not a cliche phrase. Have an experience with Relief Windows and you'll understand. They go to the ends of the earth to make sure their customers are thrilled with the work they do. As a matter of fact, Relief Windows never takes $1 from you. You will not, no deposit, no down payment. They take all the risk. They will not take $1 until you're thrilled with the work they do. Who else does that? Only Relief Windows. Check them out online at reliefwindows.com.
All right, so we obviously inch closer to the start of college football season, and LSU, as we know, is going to open up up in Clemson. It's going to be the marquee matchup of the opening weekend, that in Texas and Ohio State. And there's a lot on the line, and that's one of the games that already early in the season is going to have all the playoff implications. And the two teams have similar win total marks. Clemson's at 9.5, LSU's at 8.5, somehow still. ESPN, EJ Manuel, of course, played Clemson a bunch when he was at Florida State and has covered them for the ACC network now for plenty of years, and EJ does a great job. Heather Dinich, Paul Feinbaum. They were all on a segment on ESPN, and they were talking about win totals and would they go over or under. LSU was mentioned in this segment. Clemson was mentioned in this segment as well. Manuel, Dinich, and Feinbaum, who also made potentially the most hyperbolic statement of the college football offseason so far. If I have time in this segment, I'll get to that. If not, I'll get to it later. Manuel, Dinich, Feinbaum all picked Clemson to go over their 9.5, which would put them at 10-2. That would put them easily in the playoff, I believe, at that point. But I think in an ACC that's just not super strong, Clemson has a chance to go over that. And I think that's one reason why you would look at 9.5 for Clemson, everything they have returning, and say, yeah, over 9.5 makes a lot of sense for them. One thing that EJ Manuel mentioned was the defense, and Clemson having a really good defense. And in Dabo's time, like, everyone thinks about some of the studs you've had on offense, like Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, when you talk about quarterbacks. I mean, you can go through receiver and T. Higgins and, Sammy Watkins, DeAndre Hopkins, like all those guys. But man, the cornerstone of those teams was their defense. And Manuel pointed out, and he's right. And I'll take it a step further and say the defensive line for Clemson. I mean, you go back to those championship teams, the 2 titles that Dabo won there, the pros that they put into the NFL on the defensive line who are still playing at a high level today. And that's potentially what you have with Clemson this year as well. It's why when I look at that game, I have concern for LSU, because you're going to run out 4 new starters along the offensive line in that game facing that defensive front on the road. The interesting thing here, though, is when you flip to LSU's side and the 8.5, Dinich, Feinbaum, Manuel, all picked LSU over. Now, again, for LSU, that'd be it. All you have to do is get to 9 wins, 9-3, and I have some time earmarked here to actually talk about LSU's schedule in the next hour, because we have some strength of schedule rankings from Phil Steele. But it's just interesting with so much on the line in that game early, and you have everyone picking both teams to go over their win totals. Now, the win totals are different enough to where that game doesn't swing it. Like, LSU can lose that game at Clemson and still get to 9 wins. Clemson can lose that opener at LSU and still get to 10 wins. But it's just that extra layer of intrigue. And it shows that in LSU's case in particular, that 8.5 is just wild. Because, man, when LSU won 8 games last year, and they are just so much more vastly talented this season than they were last season. That doesn't mean they're going to win the national championship or anything like that. But, like, on paper, they are so much more talented than that team a year ago that won 8 games. And you have the same schedule. You're playing the same teams, just in the inverse order of home and away. It's not like Texas, cycled on, or Georgia cycled on. No, it's the same schedule, just different home and away. Like, you still have South Carolina. You still got Vandy. And you have a much more talented team. So it makes a lot of sense. But it's just another layer of intrigue that you're looking at 2 teams. And the other thing that speaks to me with is you could see this matchup again potentially. If these predictions from these 3, I'm just using them as the example, Heather Dinich, Buff and EJ Manuel, because they're the ones who went on the record to do this, but plenty of people have gone on record for LSU this offseason and saying they should be a play. And Brad Crawford, we have him on the show all the time. He's written numerous pieces this offseason about LSU being in the playoff. But these are the 3 that we have right now in this moment. And if Clemson goes over their win total of 9.5 and LSU goes over their win total of 8.5, very, very likely they're both in the playoff, and you could see this matchup again come December in the college football playoff, which I think everyone would sign up for. And then you'd see it again to open the next year. This could be the first of 3 potential matchups here. Everything has to fall in place. But I think you're looking at that. And it's just really, really interesting to look at it and go, yeah, both of them. Over. Hammer it for both. I definitely would hammer it for LSU. All right, that maybe Vegas knows something that we don't. But, man, when you look at it just on the surface level, you're more talented and you got the same schedule. We'll see. More on the schedule later in the show. Right now, we're going to grab a break. come back. That puts hour 1 in the books. We'll have SportsCenter. They'll get you caught up on national headlines. Jake Madison to come in the next hour. The Pels signed Devon Looney in free agency. The Saints. Has Kellen Moore already turned a weakness into a strength? That's what I want to dig into to start hour number 2. That's next after SportsCenter here on AFR, presented by Sunshine Equipment.
AFR.
It is my pleasure this week to welcome our new partner on to After Further Review, Our Lady of the Lake. Of course, great partnership as well as the official championship health partner of LSU. When you think who takes care of the LSU athletes, well, it's Our Lady of the Lake and the physicians there. Game-changing care, keeps athletes at their best, builds stronger, healthier Louisiana for all of us at every level. I've told you about my experience throughout my life living in Baton Rouge at Our Lady of the Lake, from volunteering at the Ronald McDonald Playroom to helping raise funds through so many different fundraising efforts for the standalone Children's Hospital to taking my son to see specialists there at Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital, to my own personal health. My GP is Dr. Kurt Chastain with Our Lady of the Lake Men's Health. It's good enough for the LSU athletes. It's good enough for me and you, of course. It's Our Lady of the Lake. You can learn more at ololrmc.com/LSU.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Cavon office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Cavon have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedic.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. 3 weeks after winning the French Open, women's 2-seed Coco Gauff knocked out in the first round at Wimbledon by Diana Yastremska. Damian Lillard's out. Free agent center Miles Turner's in Milwaukee. According to ESPN's Shams Charania, Turner's agreed to a 4-year, $107 million contract with the Bucks, and to make room for him, the team's waiving Lillard and stretching the $113 million left on his deal over 5 years. Turner providing a boost in 2 areas for Milwaukee, explains ESPN NBA senior writer Andre Snellings.
Miles Turner seems like a perfect fit for the departed Brook Lopez. He does, he has similar strengths to Lopez, being a big man that can shoot the three and that could also be a rim protector. But he's also younger than Lopez and has faster foot speed, which means that he can help switch and defend on the perimeter better than Lopez.
Andre Snellings on Joe and Q. Lillard, recovering from a torn Achilles, welcomed his release. Indiana's Caitlin Clark, groin injury, out for tonight's WNBA Commissioner's Cup Championship game at Minnesota.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Wednesday, I'll continue to tell you why LeBron James and the Lakers are trending towards a breakup and why it will be the best decision for all parties involved. It's on Sportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right. Woo!
Off and running, hour number 2 after further review. Musso in for Moscona, presented by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Jacob Beck and Paul O'Neill along for the ride. Glad you are as well. 1 hour in the books, 2 more to go, and we still have a lot to get to here on Tuesday's show. The New Orleans Saints. Saints will open up training camp this month, Wednesday, July 23rd. Actually will be the first official day of Saints training camp, so 3 weeks or so from today. And there's going to be a lot of eyes, obviously, on Kellen Moore's first training camp as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. His first training camp as an NFL head coach, period. You'll have a new quarterback, new starting quarterback, obviously, with Derek Carr retired. There's been shuffling along the offensive line. What does the defensive secondary look like? All of those things, and how are the practices structured? Remember, through OTAs and minicamp, the Saints didn't hit. I mean, it was 7-on-7 the whole time. Training camp's going to be the first time you get to see this team put the pads on and actually go at it. And one unit in particular that's not quarterback is going to garner a lot of attention, and that is the offensive line. Albert Breer published a piece where it was one offseason takeaway for each NFL team. And for the New Orleans Saints, he listed the offensive line and said, quote, "The offensive line is what could make the Saints competitive in Kellen Moore's first year as head coach." I would say define competitive, like competitive for the division. You think the Saints can win the division because of what their offensive line might be? Bold. Because I think there's just a lot of holes around the Saints. But I do agree with him in what Kellen Moore has done with the offensive line, in the sense that I think that has become went from a weakness and now a strength for the New Orleans Saints. Kellen Moore, when he got the job, in his opening press conference, talked about building inside out. They wanted to get the offensive line situated first. And from day one in rookie minicamp, you saw Kelvin Banks, your number 9 overall pick at left tackle, running at left tackle. And that continued through minicamp. You saw Trevor Penning in minicamp move from right tackle to left guard. And then obviously you have McCoy and Ruiz in the middle. And for me, the reason I really look at this and go, yeah, it could be a strength for the Saints, is Eric McCoy. 'Cause I think there's just a lot of holes around the Saints. Eric McCoy. 'Cause I think there's just a lot of holes around the Saints. 'Cause I think there's just a lot of holes around the Saints. 'Cause I think there's just a lot of holes around the Saints. 'Cause I think there's just a lot of holes around the Saints. 'Cause I think there's just a lot of holes around the Saints. 'Cause I think there's just a lot of holes around the Saints. 'Cause I think there's just a lot of holes around the Saints. 'Cause I think there's just a lot of holes around the Saints. 'Cause I think there's just a lot of holes around the Saints. 'Cause I think there's just a lot of holes around the Saints. 'Cause I think there's just a lot of holes around the Saints. 'Cause I think there's just a lot of holes around the Saints. 'Cause I think there's just a lot of holes around the Saints. 'Cause I think there's just a lot of holes Eric McCoy is not only your most veteran offensive lineman that you have on this team, he's your center, which is an incredibly important part of the offensive line. It is the most important part of your offense outside of the quarterback in a sense, because he's up there making calls. You have the quarterback center exchange, all of those things. But most importantly there is you saw what the Saints offensive line was a year ago without Eric McCoy when you only got 7 games out of it. That fundamentally changed everything the Saints could do on offense. Provided he stays healthy, and McCoy stayed pretty healthy throughout his career, 2024 notwithstanding, you have that cog back for 17 games. That's going to do a few things. Number one, that's going to help whoever is under center, whether it's a rookie in Tyler Shuck or a second-year player in Spencer Rattler. And then Jake Hayner's there as well to help bring those guys along. You look at Rattler. Rattler didn't really get to play with McCoy a year ago when his time in there as the starter when Derek Carr was hurt. The other thing I think, which is really key for the Saints offensive line and where they could really take this team maybe to a new height, is in the running game. And yes, McCoy's a huge part of that. Again, making calls, things of that on the offensive. He's your veteran. But I think Trevor Penning's huge there too, because moving him inside allows him to just be physical and a bully, which is his game. And that shows up most in the running game. And Kellen Moore wants to run the football. And Kellen Moore's offenses have had a lot of success running the football. I get it. It's hard to judge what happened in Philly a year ago because Saquon Barkley is the best running back in the NFL and he ran for 1 million yards, and you just don't have that in New Orleans. But if you go back, there's been 1 year that Kellen Moore has been calling plays and his offenses have had a stinker of a season on the ground, and it was 2023 in Los Angeles with the Chargers. They averaged 96 yards per game. 96 yards per game. His 4 years in Dallas, 3 out of the 4, they were top 10 running the ball. So again, yeah, while it's hard to take what you saw in Philly and try to make that translate over to New Orleans, because you just don't have anybody like Saquon Barkley, because nobody in the league has anything like Saquon Barkley, it's easier to look at it when you go back further for him, specifically the time in Dallas. The thing that makes it interesting and why I look at it and go, you got to rely on the offensive line with this, is because you're not going to have Taysom Hill in the early part of the season. And the Saints a year ago, even with the battered O-line unit they had, whether it was McCoy in and out of the lineup, Lucas Patrick in and out of the lineup, Shane Lemieux in and out of the lineup, like whatever it was, the Saints were still a middle-of-the-pack team in rushing in the NFL a year ago. They averaged 114.5 yards per game, which I believe landed them 15th. So they were damn near exactly the middle of the pack. Now, with you retooling this offensive line, Alvin Kamara is going to be back healthy. And if he would have stayed healthy for the final 3 weeks of the season, would have rushed for 1,000 yards. It's what you have behind him, though. Kamara's getting older. It's a physical position. Can his body really take the beating without something behind him, even without Taysom Hill? And for what it's worth, you only got 8 games from Taysom Hill a year ago, and you were still right there middle of the pack. So if you can get a guy like Kendre Miller, I know they're really high on Devin Neal, to run behind that offensive line and just take some of the weight off of Kamara's shoulders, man, I think you have a great chance to have a really good running game. And if you do, then yeah, that's going to take some weight off your quarterback's shoulders as well. That's really the way I look at it. I think McCoy's key to all of it because he's your center, and having that veteran work with your quarterback's huge. But having success in the running game, which is a hallmark of a Kellen Moore offense, can take even more pressure and hopefully lead to some easier decision-making and things of that for whether it's Rattler or Shuck I mean, either way, it's going to be a second year, a rookie under center. And the other thing about it that's extremely encouraging for me is you look at the last golden era of the Saints, the end of that Sean Payton era there, where, I mean, you were a step away from the Super Bowl a couple different times. You had an aging Drew Brees, and he was still plenty productive, but one of the reasons why is because of the offensive line you had in front of him with Teron Armstead and Andres Pete and Max Unger and Eric McCoy in there at center. You know, you had Larry Warford for a time, and then Cesar Ruiz came in, Ryan Ramczyk. You had arguably the best offensive line in football. I'm not telling you this is the best offensive line in football for 2025, but I think you have the makings for a really solid one that could potentially grow into that. Let's say Trevor Penning hits at guard. That's a guy you thought of enough to draft in the first round. He's clearly talented. Fuanga and Banks, both first rounders. McCoy was a second rounder. Like, you have the makings of potentially the next great offensive line, and it was Kellen Moore's goal to come in and make that happen first, and it looks like he has. And I think where you're going to see the greatest return there is in the running game. Saints will be fine protecting the passer. The Saints were in the top half of the league a season ago in sacks allowed. Like, they're going to be fine there. I think you even get better with a guy like Kelvin Banks. But keep an eye on that running game. Because if the Saints are to have any success offensively, it's going to have to start there so you can take pressure off of your young quarterback. And the guys you have up front seem better suited to do that this season than they were a year ago for the New Orleans Saints. All right, we are going to grab a break. We will come back on the other side and talk some Pels. Jake Madison, Pelicans add a 3-time NBA champion overnight from the Golden State Warriors. How does Cavon Looney fit in with the Pels? Jake Madison will tell us next here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. I love sharing 5-star Google reviews. Here's one from Ricky Gomez, who said Chris, his technician, was very professional and knowledgeable during the HVAC evaluation. He provided details and recommendations in a clear and concise manner. That's one of the things that always stands out. If you're having an issue with your AC or your heater, and River City's 1 Hour Air sends out a technician for an evaluation, they're going to explain your options to you. And that may sound simple, but like none of it, like I don't know anything about an HVAC, neither do you. Let's be honest. So whenever they go get up in your attic or they go look at your HVAC unit on the side of your house and they come talk to you, like they're going to explain very clearly what's happening and your options to remedy it. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. 752-0001.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Back here on a Tuesday edition of After Further Review, presented by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Musso in for Moscona. Well, right after Taylor got off the air here on AFR on Monday, some news broke regarding the New Orleans Pelicans. They're bringing in 10-year NBA vet, 3-time NBA champion with the Golden State Warriors, Cavon Looney, on a 2-year deal. So, in order to get the scoop on this, we bring in our guy Jake Madison, the host of the Locked On Pels podcast. Of course, you can get him on Twitter at NOLAJake. Jake, we appreciate the time as always, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Happy to be on talking hoops with you.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, man. So, look, this is something that kind of was rumored, but let's just kind of take it from the top. So, they get Cavon Looney. He comes in, 2-year deal, $16 million at 29 years old, 10 years in the league. How does this move make New Orleans better?
You know, they needed to add some front court depth. They needed to get a guy who could rebound. They needed another center, another big man. And this is just a cheap depth piece. $8 million for a guy that could be a spot starter for you is a pretty good piece of business in today's NBA with some of the contracts that you're seeing. And Looney is just a great vet. This is a very young Pelicans team right now that's lacking veteran leadership. A 10-year vet with 3 NBA titles coming from the Golden State Warriors system. You know, I talked to a couple people around the team, the Golden State Warriors, the past couple of days here, and they think Looney was like kind of the backbone of the team, the guy that really kept that team together through some rough stretches the past couple of years as the Golden State Warriors have kind of like exited that era that they were in. So Looney's going to come in, provide that stable veteran presence, but also be a really good mentor to their rookie Derek Queen. You know, Looney's a little bit undersized at 6'9". He's kind of a bit of a tweener, similar to Derek Queen here. So this is a guy that can mentor him, can provide some rebounding, a little bit of defense. It's a guy that Willie Green will like. Just a smart move to round out the roster that the Pelicans needed.
What does this mean, if anything, for Yves Missi, who, I mean, he played 73 games as a rookie last year. Pelicans drafted him in 2024 and at times really flashed.
You know, I think Missi's still going to be the starter. I wouldn't put Looney in as a starter right now. This is someone who played 15 minutes per game last year, 16 minutes per game the year before that. You know, this is not someone that should be playing 25-plus minutes, 30-plus minutes per game. This is someone who can come in and play when there's an injury, when there's some foul trouble, or when you just need a little bit more switchability on the perimeter. The Pelicans like to run that switching defense, try and stay in front of your guys rather than fighting through screens. He can definitely do that. It's a vet that Willie Green can rely on, but, you know, he's a role player. This is not going to be, in my opinion, the starter for the team next year. I still think that's going to be Yves Missi. You still got to make sure that rookie Derek Queen is getting minutes in the front court for his development, too. I think they're just bringing Looney in as a depth piece because they're a little bit thin or at least unproven in the front court. This just adds that veteran presence that's going to help them along the way.
Can he play the 4? He can play the 4 and the 5, correct, Looney?
For the most part, he's better as a 5, and for his size, he's a really good rebounder too. And I think you'll see him playing the center spot, kind of punching above his weight. The Pelicans were a really bad defensive rebounding team last year. Looney's a well above average rebounder, so he'll probably be playing more of the 5 than the 4, I would imagine.
Pelicans bringing in Cavon Looney, a 2-year deal, $16 million. That's kind of where I want to go next, Jake. And Jake Madison's our guest, host of the Locked On Pels. Where does this leave them in terms of luxury tax and money that they might have left over for the rest of free agency in the offseason here?
Yeah, look, this could change by the minute with the way the NBA landscape is constantly shifting. But as of now, they're about $3.7 million or so away from the luxury tax. They could go into the luxury tax. They could go up to the first apron, which they're about $10, $11 million. Going to be the upper end on what they're going to spend here. You know, they still have part of their mid-level exception available. They used $8 million of that essentially to sign Cavon Looney. They have the $5.1 million biannual exception. They have a couple traded player exceptions too. But right now, they probably have about $3.7 million to spend unless they end up making another trade. They could dump somebody like Jordan Hawkins, like Jose Alvarado, maybe just for a draft pick, not bring $7 to $8 million to be able to spend either in free agency or acquire a guy in a trade.
Okay, so do you think that's more likely than potentially signing somebody for the rest of the free agency? Is that trade scenario?
Yeah, I think so. So the other reason I say that is they're 15 guys right now. That's a max you can carry on your team. They have no open roster spots right now. So if they were to sign someone, someone's got to get waived. And there's certain players they could waive. You could get rid of a guy like Antonio Reeves, second-round pick from last year. But I think they like him enough. And I don't think you're really going to get anyone that's a difference maker at $3.7 million right now. If anything, I think the Pelicans are just going to kind of not do much else, at least in free agency, in terms of signing a free agent. Keep that wiggle room to the luxury tax should they end up making another trade. You know, you could trade Jordan Hawkins, who's making $4.5 million, for someone making $8 million, let's say, or $7 million. And that's how you kind of use that rest of the space that you have in a smart way to try and upgrade your roster with a guy that fits a little bit more. I think they could use another point guard for this team, a veteran point guard. Maybe that means bring someone's got to get waived. And there's certain players they could waive. You could get rid of a guy like Antonio Reeves, second-round pick from last year. But I think they like him enough. And I don't think you're really going to get anyone that's a difference maker at $3.7 million right now. If anything, I think the Pelicans are just going to kind of not do much else, at least in free agency, in terms of signing a free agent. Keep that wiggle room to the luxury tax should they end up making another trade. You know, you could trade Jordan Hawkins, who's making $4.5 million, for someone making $8 million, let's say, or $7 million. And that's how you kind of use that rest of the space that you have in a smart way to try and upgrade your roster with a guy that fits a little bit more. I think they could use another point guard for this team, a veteran point guard. Maybe that means bring.
All right. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties there with our interview with Jake Madison. Full disclosure, we had to record that earlier in the day because Jake was going to be doing some traveling. So we had recorded it, and it just for some reason it decided to stop playing. That's never happened. Actually, we've done this a lot, and that is that's really never happened. Man. Okay. Well. We'll just pivot here a little bit. Beck, why don't we play the Supper Club live here for Matt?
We're brought to you by Supper Club. You can book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. One of the things about Supper Club that I love is if you want to go to Supper Club and be a baller, you can do it. You want to go to Supper Club and order a $5,000 bottle of Chateau Lafite Rothschild, you can do it. You want to go have $400 shots of cognac, you can do it. You can have experiences at Supper Club that usually are reserved for Las Vegas and New York and Paris and Abu Dhabi. Like, that's here in Baton Rouge. But the thing you got to remember as well, If you want to go to Supper Club and have the best steak of your life and have a few appetizers, a dessert, bottle of wine, you can do it as affordably as any other restaurant in town. But the experience at Supper Club is unmatched. Introduced open seating at the bar, first come, first serve. So if you knock off of work, you want to head by Supper Club, you can walk in without a reservation, so you can grab a bar stool or a table by the bar as well. Have a great dinner, maybe cocktail, close some business. Book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com.
All right. Again, apologies for the technical difficulties there with our interview with Jake Madison. I think I had one more question that I'd asked him about Willie Green potentially coaching for his job and New Orleans taking the risks that they had in free agency, because I asked him to grade the class or their offseason so far, and he said it's still kind of incomplete. But he talked about the risk with the draft trade they made and the unprotected pick, and you could end up with no first rounder and things of that nature. And said, man, well, if you have a coach kind of coaching for your job in that situation, I mean, where does that really leave Willie Green? He went into it. What I will say is, unfortunately, we can't play that. Get subscribed to Locked On Pels, because Jake, the way he started that answer, said he has a full episode coming on that here later this week. So stay tuned to that. You should subscribe to Locked On Pels anyway. Jake's one of the best and does an absolutely fantastic job. So he will address later in the week on his show what he addressed with us here today. I'm sorry, even during that live, we tried to find another backup way to get you the final two questions of the interview, and it just wasn't going to work for us. So apologies. We're going to grab a break, is what we'll do here. When we come back, magazine season is here for college football. I want to take a look at the SEC order of finish and strength of schedule. Have thoughts on both. We'll do that here next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics. ActionIndinc.com. That's where you find them online. You can find them on LinkedIn as well. And one of the things that I tell you often about Action Industries that I really respect the most is Action Industries, they know who they are as a business. They've been around since 1982. So in 42 years, they've really developed a reputation among the petrochemical and refinery markets. And so when it comes to those contractors, these industrial and commercial contractors, like their safety record is exemplary. The work that they do is exceptional, which is why they thrive on repeat business. Well, you don't keep getting hired for 42 years if you're not doing great work. That's Action Industries. But also they know who they are. There's some giant companies that do these mega projects, and they're not going to bid on a $200 million project. But if you have a 100-man job, that's their sweet spot. They're perfect for that. You need to get to know Action Industries. ActionIndinc.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your...
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. They will always find a way to get you the best possible price for the best possible tires on the road. That's what they do at Shawbills. And when they get you in by selling you the best tires, the cheapest price possible, they're going to treat you like family, and they're going to treat you so good, you're going to keep coming back year after year after year, every time you need anything for your vehicle. Tires rotated, oil change, check engine light on, brakes squeaking, whatever's wrong with your vehicle, bring it to Shawbills. Let them give it the once-over, and you can always schedule online, so it's convenient. ShawbillsTire.com. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Shop tires online at ShawbillsTire.com. Be sure to ask about the Shawbills credit card as well, because you can save $50 off your first purchase when you use the Shawbills credit card only at Shawbills.
All right, in 2 weeks, SEC football media days will take place, and after that, the media will vote on their predicted order of finish for the Southeastern Conference, and it's just an exercise that they do, as Phil Steele does as well. And Phil Steele, talk about magazine season. I mean, his magazine's the best. He's with us every Friday during football season here on AFR. And with the release of his magazine comes his predicted order of finish in the SEC, as well as his strength of schedule rankings for the SEC. I want to go through both, and I want to start with the schedule, because I feel like you've seen varying opinions on LSU's strength of schedule. And look, there's plenty of ways to measure this, right? You can look at it and go, okay, your opponent's records from a year ago that are on your schedule, where does that rank? And if you're going to go that way, LSU's strength of schedule is going to rank toward more of the easier in the SEC. Then you could do it kind of the way Phil does it, and he takes in multiple factors, whether it's past records, what teams have added in the portal, expected jumps from certain players, and put it together, and you could say, okay, LSU's a little bit harder of a schedule. For what it's worth, Phil ranks LSU the fourth hardest schedule in the SEC for 2025. Their national rank is 6. So top 10 in the country, top 5 in the SEC. And for the life of me, whenever I look at LSU's schedule, I can't help but look at it as manageable. I really can't. When you look at the home schedule, you couldn't have really asked for much better. You have to start on the road at Clemson, and that is going to be tough. And if I had to pick that game right here today, I'm picking Clemson to win that game. And in doing that, if I had to pick that game right here today and pick Clemson, I'm still sitting right here today and picking LSU to go 10-2 with that being one of the two losses. When you look at the home schedule for LSU, Louisiana Tech, Southeastern, Western Kentucky, those are all wins. Two of the teams that everybody is looking at in the SEC and saying, oh man, they're going to take a jump because of what they have at quarterback are South Carolina and Florida. You know what? DJ Lagway had a really nice season a year ago. He beat LSU a year ago. Made some really nice plays down the stretch in that game to help do so. That game is at home for LSU. And I think that absolutely matters. Not only is it at home, it's early. LSU for the longest time played Florida in October. The last few years, you've seen them play them in November. Now you get them in September. I think that combo favors LSU. Yeah, DJ Lagway looks like he's going to be a great player. He still has to prove it a little bit more. And that game's at home. Everyone is in love with Lenora Sellers. And I'm sorry, for me, I have to see the kid throw the football more consistently. Like, for me, it screams Anthony Richardson and Jalen Milroe at the next level. But you also get that game at home. And South Carolina's defense is not what it was a year ago. Yes, you still have Dylan Stewart. He's awesome. But that's a much different team than the one that really beat you for, I don't know, 3 quarters a year ago in Columbia until they blew it and you made some great plays to come back. But you get that game at home. That's a game you won on the road last year. Now you get it home. Florida, you lost on the road, but you get that at home. Texas A&M. LSU hadn't won in College Station in forever. And you lost there a year ago. That game's at home this year. Arkansas, get them at home. When you look at the road schedule, as I said, Clemson's tough. This is going to be a really hard game. And a really difficult test. You go to Ole Miss. Sure, Ole Miss is an interesting test case because it's like, okay, how much of a step back do they take after losing everything they lost from last year's team? They went out in the portal and got. But then again, Ole Miss did some pretty good work in the portal this cycle as well. And at quarterback, I think they feel pretty good still. Really, when Lane Kiffin's there, you're going to feel pretty good at quarterback regardless. But it's not like Oxford's been a house of horrors for LSU. You've lost your last 2 trips there, but one of them was a 2023 game where it was just a complete shootout and defense wasn't even allowed in the building between Jaden Daniels and Jackson Dart. You were a fingertip catch away in the end zone on the last play of the game with Chris Hilton away from winning that one as well. And I think most people would look at it on paper and say, okay, LSU's a more talented team. There's different factors on the road and whatnot. I wouldn't call Ole Miss the toughest place in the world to play. And again, it hasn't been a house of horrors for LSU. Then there's Alabama. That's on the road. That's going to be difficult. But who's playing quarterback for Alabama on November the 8th? Is it still Ty Simpson? Is it Keelan Russell? Like, the kid from Washington, transfer there? Like, who is it at that point? And I don't know. And then your other road game is Vanderbilt, which, much respect to Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt, I'm taking LSU on the road in Nashville in there. I can look at this and go, all right, I can see. And then Oklahoma, which, again, that's the other thing for the life of me that I can't really understand. I was going to save this kind of more for like the SEC order of finish. But I don't get why everyone looks at Oklahoma this year and says they're a wild card to make the playoff. Brent Venables is incredibly unproven as a head coach. You're bringing in a new quarterback and a new offensive coordinator. And yes, they were together at Washington State. And yes, they were awesome there, but this is the SEC. This isn't the CW schedule that Washington State was playing a year ago. And by the way, they have the same schedule they had a year ago as well, which they went 6-6 on. It was really tough. You have the inverse of home and away, but I think that actually, well, I think that plays into the favor of LSU. I think that actually plays to the detriment of Oklahoma. Anyway, I look at this for LSU. I think your home schedule is as manageable as it could be. And the real swing point is going to be Bama and Ole Miss on the road, because I like LSU on the road against Vandy, and I like LSU on the road against Oklahoma. Like, that's how I can still arrive at 10-2, even with saying I think they lose the Clemson game here today, is because I think you have a legitimate chance to go 3-1 on the road. So while everyone looks at LSU's schedule and says, man, it's tough, and I can understand why they would say that. You know, you're expecting jumps from guys like a Sellers, like Lagway. You know, what is year 2 at DeBoer? Hold all that stuff. I'm not saying LSU schedule is easy. I'm saying it's incredibly manageable for someone ranking it the 6th toughest schedule in the nation, or the 4th toughest schedule in the SEC. And it has everything to do with really the home slate. Then Phil went with the predicted order of finish in the SEC as well. He has Georgia finishing first, Texas finishing behind them. That makes sense. I mean, those two teams played for the SEC Championship a year ago. They played for the SEC Championship. In fact, I mean, the last, they played each other plenty last, but they played for the SEC Championship a year ago. Texas has been in the playoff the last 2 years. Like, that makes a lot of sense. The one thing that's going to determine if Texas is there, because the rest of their team is fine. They're going to be great on defense. Like, give Sark credit, y'all. He has done a fantastic job recruiting over there and building that team for SEC competition to where they were able to have the success that they did year 1 in the league in 2024. That's a major credit to him, and that will just roll over. Obviously, I mean, they were great in the running game a year ago. They're going to still be good there, and they're going to need some guys back from injury. The thing that's going to determine it is Arch Manning. Like, I mean, is Arch Manning the guy everyone thinks he is and is hyping him up to be? Or does he go through growing pains, a first-year starter in the SEC that you've seen plenty of quarterbacks do? And if he does that, it's going to be a long road for Texas to get to the SEC Championship game in Atlanta, even with as talented as the rest of their team is. He has Alabama at number 3, which, who's going to play quarterback for that team? Like, that's, for me, again, it's there. LSU, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, all tied for 4th. This is where I was going to get into that Oklahoma conversation that we kind of had in the last portion of this, because I just don't see it. A&M at one of those spots tied for 4 as well is interesting, because, again, man, you go back to Marcel Reed, and it looks like he's poised for a breakout season, but when the offense, his rushing offense was shut down, it left a lot to be desired there with the arm. Something that really caught my attention in Phil's was the position of South Carolina and Auburn. He had South Carolina and Auburn both tied for 10th in his projected order of finish. And I think that's right really where South Carolina should be. I think Shane Beamer's done an incredible job there. He has exceeded expectations really in every single year except for one. He's beaten Clemson twice. Like, Shane Beamer's done a lot in his short tenure there at South Carolina. And sure, Lenora Sellers could take the jump, but it's what we talked about with them coming into Death Valley. They're just not the same team on defense they were a year ago, and I think that's a step back. Auburn at 10 surprised me because outside of Oklahoma, Auburn is that team that everybody out of the SEC is like a wild card to make the playoff. It's Auburn. And it didn't go well for Hugh Freeze in year one there. And now it's really even, in two. Now you look at this and it's kind of put up or shut up time. And their schedule is not an easy one. But you brought in Jackson Arnold, who, I mean, what he was at Oklahoma. It surprised me because I thought just maybe with the things they've done and Hugh Freeze being at the helm, could they be that? But when you really sit down and look at it, I think it makes a lot of sense. Vanderbilt at 14, not surprising there. I mean, it was a great story last year. He has Mississippi State rounding it out. Overall, I think LSU in that 4th spot is fair. I think that's where you'll see them really check in a lot. Georgia and Texas are going to get the benefit of the doubt, and they should. The thing that's going to be interesting for me when they do this at SEC Media Day and the media pools together and gives their predictor order finish is who finishes third, LSU or Alabama. I can tell you if you're looking at it pretty objectively, LSU has a darn good case. And the only reason, and I think Alabama does too, for what it's worth, the only reason I would put LSU over them is quarterback. I'm taking Garrett Nusmeier. Like, Georgia even has questions at quarterback with Stockton. Texas with Arch. LSU's returning a 4,000-yard passer. The only one in college football. For LSU, though, it's going to hinge on much more than Garrett Nusmeier. But I do think you feel pretty good there. So that's really the thing I'm looking at. I fully expect Georgia, Texas to garner the most votes for the top 2 spots. What happens at number 3 between LSU and Alabama? We'll get our answer soon enough at SEC Football Media Days. But I'll tell you again, I think LSU's schedule is pretty darn manageable. And I think they go 10-2, even with a loss potentially at Clemson. We'll grab a break, come back on the other side. Tigers and the Pros wraps up hour number 2 of AFR.
After further review.
If you are thinking about selling your home, maybe you've been on the fence, you've looked at rates and everything, like if you do sell, can you afford to buy the next home? Listen, the market right now is en fuego. I was talking to Darren James over the weekend, and he was like, Matt, the start of 2025 is the best start we've ever had. I'm telling you, consumer confidence is back. It is time right now to check out Darren James. Agent225.com, agent225.com. Yes, in Baton Rouge, but all over. Like, I just opened this one up. This is a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo in Slidell that Darren's selling right on the water there on Harbor Drive. You can check it out, 129. You can check it out right now at agent225.com, agent225.com. Listen, buying, selling, commercial, residential, you need a realtor, you need the best. You need Darren James. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Always a pleasure to tell you about our friends at the Williamson Eye Center. Check them out online at williamsoneye.com. They've got locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. On the Baton Rouge General Campus, you turn off a Bluebonnet onto Picardy, you make that right. And then right there at the stop sign, the building on the right, the first 2 floors, that's the Williamson Eye Center. State-of-the-art dry eye center, and it's full service. Of course, they have their state-of-the-art surgery center there where you can have your LASIK or whatever surgical procedure you're having. But they have your standard annual eye exam as well at the Williamson Eye Center. Learn more at williamsoneye.com. The thing I tell you every day is take the advice that I was given and change your life. To give yourself the gift of sight is absolutely incredible. If you're someone like me who spent your life with contacts or glasses, there is a way to be done with it forever. WilliamsonEye.com. Go see Dr. Blake Williamson for that free consultation. 924-2020. 924-2020 or WilliamsonEye.com for the Williamson Eye Center.
All right, closing out hour number 2 here of AFR on a Tuesday, presented by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Tigers in the pros. Take it away, Beck.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Alrighty, first one, we'll start with the hardwood. How about Naz Reid, our guy? As Matt always likes to say, should have stayed.
Should have stayed.
He just made a lot of money for himself. 5 years, $125 million deal to stay with the T-Wolves. He includes a player option in 29 and 30 as well. So really, really awesome. I think he's got to be the highest paid LSU guy in NBA now. That's a really lucrative deal for him.
What's Ben Simmons at? That'd be the only one I could think of.
I don't know
if Ben's still living off that giant deal.
Yeah, I don't know if he's still on that. Yeah, I'm not sure, but it's got to be close
him or
at
Nas.
this point.
It is him or Nas.
Yes.
Congrats to Nas, man. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
That's the second time he's gotten paid, too, by the way.
Really solid stuff for him, and he's going to be a cornerstone for the T-Wolves there for the next 5 years, I would think. All right, how about this? On the Lynx, Ben Taylor.
Hey!
Nice little showing on the Korn Ferry Tour at the Memorial Health Championship. Finished tied for 5th. Just 3 shots off the lead for Ben. He made himself $36K there in Springfield, Illinois. So solid performance for him, and he's up there in the top of the Korn Ferry standing. So really looking to make a move here and get his tour card back maybe next year.
I'd love to see that.
We'll go to the Diamond. Got a lot of stuff from the Diamond, actually. We still have some guys injured, but we'll start with Grant Taylor for the White Sox. He had a nice outing on Saturday. Got two innings scoreless, and he also got his second save of his career and a 1-0 win over the Giants. So nice little spot there for Grant. And then Josh Smith, he was really hot. Had a 15-game on-base streak for a minute there. He lost it a couple days ago, but still really good over the weekend. Went 1 for 4 on Saturday, 2 for 5 on Sunday. So nice weekend for Josh Smith. He's hitting .311 in the month of June. Man. So really good stuff from him.
Got to get him to the All-Star game this year. He should have been there last year.
Yep. And Cole Henry been pitching pretty well. He had a little bit of a shaky outing a couple weeks ago in June, but of late, really good on Sunday. 1 inning scoreless. The Nationals got a win there, 7-4 in extras. Paul Gervais, doing really well since he got called up. Went 1 2/3 scoreless, 1 hit. The Rays lost that one to the Athletics 6-4. And Paul Skeens on the mound today, 5:40 start time for the Pirates and the Cardinals. And also Kevin Gossman, real quick, got the start for the Blue Jays. He had really good outing for his last start, 8 scoreless. He went 5 innings today and 2 earned runs against the Yankees. That game is still going on. They're winning 9-4, though. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Thank you, Beck. Appreciate that. We are going to grab a break here, come back on their side. Let's dive into the roster numbers for LSU. MLB Draft Month is here. Where do they stand? That's next on AFR.
After further review.
AFR is brought to you by Parish Restoration. Kill mold, remove odor, other harmful pathogens, commercial or residential. As a matter of fact, Parish Restoration, I love the process, by the way. If you go to the website at parishrestoration.com, you can see videos of their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. So you see exactly what it looks like. Very cool. But they have fogged, over at Parish Restoration, they fogged one of the largest buildings in the entire state of Louisiana. So it doesn't matter if it's your office building, your church, whatever it may be, school, or your home. They can even fog your car. Maybe your car has a weird odor, musty smell. Maybe you bought a used car from a smoker and you can't get that smoky smell out. This will do it. They'll come while you're at work, fog it by the time you're done with work for the day. Boom, you're back in a clean-smelling, fresh-smelling vehicle. It's Parish Restoration. Learn more at parishrestoration.com. Parishrestoration.com. Do business with someone you know. Parishrestoration.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. 3 weeks after winning the French Open, women's 2-seed Coco Gauff knocked out in the first round in Wimbledon by Diana Yastremska. The Bucks landed one of the NBA's top free agents this offseason, agreed to a 4-year, $107 million deal with center Miles Turner. In order to make room for Turner, Milwaukee's waiving Damian Lillard and stretching the $113 million left on his contract over 5 years. Lillard, recovering from a torn Achilles, welcomed the release, and he can choose his destination on his own time. ESPN NBA analyst and former NBA forward Quentin Richardson.
I'm excited for him, man. I mean, not the best situation, but he's still going to get his big-time money while he gets to sit out of rehab, but he gets to look at the landscape. After this year, he'll be a complete free agent. He doesn't have to talk. He gets to go and choose where he wants to go, so he gets to sit back, get healthy, and see what the landscape looks like and where he fits in better.
Raptors center Jakob Poeltl's agreed on a 4-year, $104 million extension with the team. WNBA, Indiana's Caitlin Clark, groin injury out of tonight's Commissioner's Cup championship game at Minnesota.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. If you're a renter, make sure you're protected. Renter's insurance includes options that cover stolen property, personal injury, and living expenses if your place is damaged. Quote renter's insurance at progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Woo!
Hour number 3 after further review, off and running here on a Tuesday, presented by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Musso in for Moscona. Back from vacation myself, as a matter of fact. Jacob Beck and Paul O'Neill along for the ride, and glad you're here as well as we kick off hour number 3 and drive you home here on this Tuesday and this holiday week, 4th of July, coming up obviously on Friday. Good 2 hours in the book. Thanks to Shea Dixon stopping by in his regular spot in the first hour to talk some recruiting. Jake Madison stopped by in the second hour, talked about the Pels signing Cavon Looney. We touched on the addition of Santiago Garcia out of the transfer portal for LSU Baseball in the first hour. All of that's on demand if you want to go get it, and on YouTube as well. Presented by Brett Goff. I want to bring the conversation back to baseball here to start hour 3. Because as transfer portal season wraps up and you enter July, you're now into the month of the MLB draft. And all focus here really turns to building the team for 2026 and defending your national championship. And roster numbers, especially in baseball, they're fluid every single year. And this year, expect it to be even more fluid. Like, to the point where it almost kind of feels premature having this conversation on July 1st. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one is, given the new rev share component of this, no more 11.7 scholarship limit, COVID years finally being over, there's now a strict roster limit on baseball from 40 down to 34. Now, you might say, okay, how is that really that much different? Before all the COVID stuff happened, you were restricted at 35. So really what you're doing is going back to a very similar restricted roster, just one spot less. But when you look at this LSU team, there are a few things that you know. You know the guys who have entered the portal. You know the guys who are going to the MLB draft. You know the guys who are out of eligibility. You know those 3 things. You know what's in your signing class. You know what you've added in the portal. And then there's all the unknown of decisions still to be made. Just crunching the numbers earlier. Very rough. This could change later tonight. But just to give you a baseline of, again, on the things that we know. we know that 9 players from LSU have entered the portal from last year's team. So that takes you from 40 to 31. We know that 4 players are out of eligibility in Luis Hernandez, Dalton Beck, Michael Braswell, and Josh Pearson. Guys that we know are going to go to the draft. Jared Jones, Danny Dickinson, Anthony Ianson, Cade Anderson, Chase Shores. You add that all together, the things that you know, and they're sitting at 21. Then you add in the 5 guys you brought in from the portal, that's 26. That leaves you with 8 spots. Now, the unknown portion of this is really interesting because there's a lot of guys with decisions to make on this LSU team. And it's not just draft decisions. Like, I look at a guy like Jacob Myers, that's absolutely a draft decision. Would Jacob Myers be better served for another year in college and another year pitching in the SEC? Probably. Will he take that? Probably not. Like, I'm expecting a guy who throws 100, even with some of the issues he's had with command and just control for that matter, because of the stuff, because of the measurables from him, the angle he creates on the mound, there's going to be an MLB team that takes him in the top 10 rounds, probably the top 5 rounds, and he's going to sign that and go. But we don't know that for sure yet. He has leverage still. But does he really want to give that up? Probably not. But because we don't know, I factor that into the 21 that we were left with. But that's some obvious turnover that could come. Jaden Newt, that guy is going to have a decision to make. Would he be better served for another year? Absolutely. And he wouldn't lose all his leverage. So I think you could look at that and go, okay, maybe he does come back. But that's also factored into that 21. A guy like Zach Cowan is going to have a decision to make because a guy like Zach Cowan is draft eligible and kind of is what he is. And what he is a damn good pitcher. But from a MLB standpoint, the stuff isn't going to jump off the page. I don't really know if Zach Cowan could improve his draft stock. I don't think he can by coming back any more than he'd have it this year by going. Would I love for LSU to keep him? Do I want him back at LSU? Absolutely, because he's a damn good pitcher. And that's a guy that can fill multiple roles for you. You see that start in the World Series against Arkansas. I mean, you think, okay, well, hey, can he maybe work his way into your game 3 guy potentially for next year with the conversation we had about what you have in your bullpen already for 26? But that's a decision to make. Does he want to come back, lose all leverage? All of those things could factor in. That's not even talking about a guy like, Binge and Ware and Primo and all those guys and Tanner Reeves. So there will be more turnover on this team. 100%. That's why I said it's kind of crazy. Like, it feels premature to even have this conversation right now. But knowing what we know, you look at them really with 8 spots left. And then you look at the signing class. And they have an 18-player signing class. And that's just not going to hold. It can't. And you'll have the normal turnover from the draft in that class. Like, Quentin Young is the top player in LSU's class. He's the top 50 prospect on most draft boards. Do you get that guy to campus? I don't know. Let's see. Your 2 shortstop commits are both top 100 draft prospects. Can you get one or both of them to campus? I don't know. Let's see. You're going to get Omar Cerna, the catcher. That's huge. But 18 of these guys are not showing up. And they never were, because, again, natural turnover in the draft. But you just can't have that. There's going to be turnover in the recruiting class for LSU. This is the very beginning. And there's a long, long way to go here. And they're not done in the transfer portal. We talked about that in the open of the show when we talked about adding Santiago Garcia. Like when you look at what LSU's added so far, you've got 3 left-handed pitchers, infielder and Seth Dardar, who came on this show, said he's most comfortable at second base. And I would think, just looking at it, that guy's your replacement for Dickinson. And you brought in Braden Simpson for third base. But it wouldn't surprise me to see LSU go get another infielder, build some depth there to potentially have somebody behind Simpson to play third base if you feel a need there. I'd be fall over stunned if they don't go add a starting pitcher in the transfer portal. And maybe they think one of the guys they've gotten is that. But for starting experience, mainly, Jay's done that in there every year. He's been at LSU. And outfield depth wouldn't hurt either. You know, I mean, man, when you look at the portal, 2 of your 9 were outfielders. And that was Larson and Mick Paul. It's Chris Stanfield. Like, I expect Chris Stanfield to sign a pro contract. I really do. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he comes back. But that, to me, screamed 1 year to come and improve the hit tool, which he did. Chris Stanfield was your leading hitter in the SEC this year. Everyone knows Derek Curiel's moving to center field next season. Like, there's a reason for that. But we don't know that decision yet. So you can't really factor it in. But because of that, I mean, outfield depth in the portal wouldn't be a bad idea to go at either. So right now, again, I'll just repeat it, go through it very quickly. Right now, with what we know, they would have 8 spots remaining. And they just have too many guys to fight for those 8 spots. So you'll see more turnover on the roster. You might see some draft decisions that might come across as unexpected. And you'll see turnover in the recruiting class, and they will continue to add in the portal. And they'll work their way to it. And outside looking in, it seems dense and confusing. But if there's one thing I know for sure, Jay Johnson knows most of the decisions that are going to happen already. And the number he's looking at is a lot different than 8 spots remaining. But just surface level outside looking in, that's where they are. And it's going to be a very, very fluid offseason. One of the most fluid we've seen since COVID. Because now you're losing 6 spots. You're going from 40 to a hard cap at 34. We will see how it all shakes out, and we'll keep you posted here, obviously, on AFR and as well, Musso at the Box. Please subscribe if you have not already, YouTube and at your favorite podcast app. Show is back tomorrow, and it'll be a lot of thoughts on the roster, current and going forward, and Santiago Garcia and all those things. So I much appreciate a subscription there as well. All right, let's grab a break. Come back on the other side. Garrett Nusmeier, he was at the Manning Passing Academy. What did he have to say? We'll let you hear from him next here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Glow Resources. If you are a business owner, if you're an HR manager, a VP, an ops manager, if you're the person in charge of hiring at your job, at your place of business, and you're having trouble finding the right people, you need Glow Resources. And I want to remind you, Glow Resources, they're exceptional when it comes to skilled blue-collar workers and also white-collar divisions. Remember, Glow Resources has a full professional placement division. So we're talking about office administrators, executive-level assistants, assistant controllers, plant managers, scheduling assistants, basically any type of office job. Accounting, HR, marketing, managerial, supervisor roles. If you're having trouble finding those people and sometimes hard to fill roles, Glow Resources specialize. They recruit nationwide. For example, they had a Baton Rouge company that was looking for an engineer. They found the employee in Florida to work the job in California. It's Glow Resources. Check them out online today. GLO, glowresources.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Brought to you by Evermore. Drink Evermore, EVAMOR, evermore.com, evermore.com. For elite athletes, for someone who just wants a healthier lifestyle, maybe you're a parent, you want a healthier option for your children, Evermore is a great option. I would highly encourage you, bottom line, if you're drinking tap water, don't. Bare minimum, filter your tap water. But the best option is Evermore. This is natural artesian water. It's underground aquifers on the north shore of Lake Pontchartrain, right there in Covington. They dug a well into that aquifer. And I mean, it's literally thousands of years in the making. That's why they call it Mother Nature's masterpiece. That's what they're pulling out of the ground. The only filtration is take like the sediment from the ground out of the water, and it goes right into the bottle. So it never touches air until you uncap and take that first delicious sip. Learn more where you can buy it, great retailers or online, EVAMOR, evermore.com.
Manning Passing Academy was over the weekend. Garrett Nusmeier was in attendance and had a great showing. I mean, sure you all saw the clips of him on social media just really airing it out down there. But with that also comes a meeting with the media, and Garrett Nusmeier partook. And I thought he had some really intriguing and fascinating things to say, actually, about this LSU team. It's the first time that we've heard from Garrett since the spring. And look, I'm sure he'll make his way to Atlanta with that for SEC Media Days with Brian Kelly and the rest of the LSU contingent. You'll hear plenty of him on the first day of that event, because that's when LSU will go again. But sticking with the Manning Passing Academy, one of the things that really jumped off the page to me was when he was asked about the talent level at LSU, because Brian Kelly has been asked about this numerous times this offseason. Like, I think you can count on one hand the amount of times Brian Kelly has had a microphone in his face and has not been asked about the talent level and if this is the most talented team he's had at LSU. And consistently, Brian Kelly has doubled and tripled and quadrupled down, saying, yes, it is. And Garrett Nusmeier was kind of asked that same question at the Manning Passing Academy, and he backed up his head coach.
Well, he's not lying. It's definitely the most talented roster that I've been a part of at LSU. It's the closest team I've been a part of at LSU from top to the bottom of the roster. So it's very exciting. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of expectations for us. We accept those expectations. I think that not only is there an expectation for us from the outside, but there's also an expectation for us from within.
Bax says, no, he's not lying. This is the most talented roster I've been around. But the thing that really caught me there was the second part where he said it's the closest team I've ever been around at LSU. And, man, that's as important as anything. You got to have the right guys in that locker room. You have to have everybody pulling in the same direction. And with the transfer portal and that era, that can be hard to do. You're bringing in so many different guys from different systems, from different backgrounds, all into one, all into your program, and you have a very finite time to instill your culture. You really have to do that on the recruiting trail when you're dealing in the portal. And for Garrett Nusmeier to say that, that's encouraging. Now, he's supposed to say that, right? You could very easily take a pessimistic view of it and go, what do you want him to say? Well, I want him to say that. But when I hear it coming from a leader like Garrett Nusmeier, I buy it. Like 100%. Because also, I think you've heard it from the transfers that LSU brought in as well. If this team's going to make a run to the college football playoff, sure, you need the great play on the field, but one of the only ways you're going to get that is the togetherness off of the field. So as great as it is to hear Garrett Nusmeier back up Brian Kelly and say, yeah, he's not lying. This is the most talented team we've had. It's the most talented team I've been around since I've been here. But to follow that up with it's the closest, that's really important. Now, back to the talent. Garrett Nusmeier was asked about gelling with all the new players, especially those receivers that they brought in for it.
Yeah, it's been huge. Obviously in this new era of college football, you have transfers and things like that. And the most important thing I think we've underlined is that, we have to be close. We have to create a chemistry, and I think we've done an unbelievable job with that. Whether it's, you see the videos of us playing in the pool at Coach Kelly's house, or, just hanging out over there, or, doing different things, on our own time, just spending time around each other as much as we can, getting those transfers as comfortable as we can, and just trying to build that chemistry.
Again, it speaks to right back to what he said in the previous, closest team I've ever been around. I have no worry that Garrett Nusmeier will be in sync with Nick Anderson on an over route come September. That'll happen just fine. I have no issue and no worry that he won't be in sync on a go route with Barrion Brown or Chris Hilton. That stuff will work it out. Garrett is a great leader. He's extremely talented, and that stuff just will kind of come natural. But it's the chemistry and getting those guys comfortable, the transfers comfortable in the program at LSU. That's so big. LSU is never, ever, ever short for weapons on the offensive side of the ball at the skill position, ever. And they once again have an embarrassment of riches. And it's one of the reasons everybody looks at Garrett Nusmeier and expects such a big jump for him. The on-field chemistry, I think, will be fine there. I have no worry. But again, it goes back to, well, why do you buy it when Garrett Nusmeier says it's the closest team? Because of everything he said in that answer. One of their main goals was getting those transfers comfortable, whether it's the pool parties at BK's or just hanging out, going out to dinner by themselves together with the whole team. And that will lead to a better, not a better, but a great season for Garrett Nusmeier. the other part of that is the on the field. And you've heard Joe Sloan be asked this. You've heard Brian Kelly be asked this. Like, why is Nusmeier set for the jump as year 2 as a starter? And they've all said, well, because of year 1. And Garrett Nusmeier was asked at the Manning Passing Academy why he's better equipped because of year 1. Like, how much does that year of starting experience factor in to 2025?
It's huge, night and day difference, being able to go back and watch a full season of tape and to study myself and work on the things that I know I need to improve on and be able to, have substance there to identify those mistakes and find those corrections. So it's been really, really huge for me, something that, I'm very looking forward to being able to, get out on the field this fall and correct those mistakes.
You hear it all the time in sports and in life. I mean, there's no substitute for experience. What's the old cliche in sports? The best coach a player will ever have is playing time. Garrett Nusmeier's got a full season of it, and it's what he said. He can go back and watch that tape. He can go back to A&M, watch the interceptions, and learn from that. He can go back and watch the tape and say, I should have taken off there. And he can use his legs a little bit more in 2025. He knows the expectation is there. Not just the expectation of LSU in the playoff or LSU in Atlanta for the SEC championship or how maybe LSU winning it all. He knows the expectation is there, and that's his expectation as well. But the other thing that's following him around is the success of the last 2 second-year starters at LSU, and Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels. Both of them won Heisman trophies, and Joe Burrow led LSU to the greatest season in college football history. And it's not something that Garrett Nusmeier is running from, but it is something that he's embracing, and he understands how to approach it.
It's definitely no question that I didn't, use my legs enough last year and I wasn't mobile enough. And so I definitely made that a point of emphasis for me this year and this offseason, just as far as, weight training and things like that. Just, making myself, more twitchy and things like that. And so it's definitely been a good offseason. I think Coach Flynn has done a really good job. I think the whole team has kind of attacked the weight room and conditioning and a very, very strong mindset, a 1-0 mindset, as we keep talking about. So I think it's been very good.
Sorry, this is the one we wanted about following Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels as a second-year starter.
I'm Garrett Nusmeier. I'm not Jaden Daniels. I'm not Joe Burrow. I'm Garrett Nusmeier. And so I'm going to be the best Garrett Nusmeier that I can be, and hopefully it's enough for the LSU Tigers.
Again, it's what you expect him to say. But I don't worry about that cloud bothering him because he sat behind Jaden Daniels and watched Jaden Daniels go through it. We were having the same conversation. Oh, man, Daniels, he did some good things, especially towards the end of that first year as a starter. Remember, Joe Burrow took the step. Zach Mettenberger took the step. Jaden Daniels went through that same deal. And Garrett Nusmeier sat there, watched how Daniels handled it. They were extremely close. Yeah, you know what? You can only experience that when you actually get out there on the field and do it. But I love that he did have that experience of watching Daniels go through that. I'm not telling you that Garrett Nusmeier is going to win the Heisman Trophy. He could, but I'm not telling you that he's going to, but he could. I'm just telling you, I trust his mindset with, I'm Garrett Nusmeier, and I'm just going to be the best Garrett Nusmeier I can be. And hopefully it's enough for the LSU Tigers. And I think that it will be. The one thing that's going to hinge on isn't the turnovers for me. I think Garrett Nusmeier will limit his interception. I think Nuss will throw less than 12 interceptions this year. I do. I think he'll be much better in that regard. It doesn't hinge on that. It hinges on LSU's running game. Because in order for Garrett Nusmeier to be the best Garrett Nusmeier that he can be, you have got to have something to complement him this year so it's not all on his shoulders every single week. And a lot of that focus is going to go to your offensive line. And that's the other angle to this conversation, is Garrett will be playing behind an offensive line, replacing 4 starters. And I expect there to be growing pains there early. But I think you have enough experience with what you brought in out of the portal to add some veteran presence there to where that should be a highly functioning unit 4 weeks into the season, 3-4 weeks into the season. Like, that's my expectation for LSU's offensive line. And if that's the case, and you can open up better running lanes and be a little bit more creative and a little bit more versatile in your running game and your scheme, and it's not all the weight in the world on Garrett Nusmeier's shoulders week in and week out like it was a year ago, yeah, he could be the best version of himself, and it will be good enough for the LSU Tigers. Good stuff from Garrett Nusmeier at the Manning Passing Academy. All right, we're going to grab a break, come back with more. It's Tuesday edition of AFR, presented by Sunshine. Musso in for Moscona. We carry on next. Stay here.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Duplessis Builders, DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net. Y'all, whenever we talk about the pool building process, I don't want this to be boring to you, but it's important that I point out how Duplessis goes about their process, because it gives color and description to why they were able to give a 10-year workmanship warranty. Like, when some companies say, we'll build your pool in 2 weeks, like, that's not a real thing. At Duplessis, the excavation takes 2 to 3 days. Then they'll shoot the gunite. Takes 21 days for gunite, for concrete to cure. So they're not going to proceed until those 21 days have passed. The product will last longer, so they're not going to rush the process. After you let that tiling and coping cure for 2 weeks, then you add water. Before you add water, then you plaster. So it's why a lot of pools start to fail in 2 to 3 years, because they don't do it right. You'll never worry about that with Duplessis Builders.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, This is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Quick reminder about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They're the best. If you are, gentlemen, thinking about popping the question and you're thinking about where am I going to go buy that diamond, I want you to consider this. There are places that will sell you man-made lab diamonds, but what are you buying? It's according to its makeup and characteristics, sure, diamond. But is it going to hold its value? Like, is that the way you want to say, I love you, I want to spend the rest of my life with you? Go to Lee Michaels. Go to Lee Michaels. Walk in the door. Experience the thing I talk about all the time, which is the Lee Michaels experience. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry with 10 locations. Baton Rouge, 2 locations in Baton Rouge. New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, Mississippi, Texas as well. 10 locations across 3 states. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Thrill her, gentlemen. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry.
Enjoy a VIP experience with the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge team and the Baton Rouge Rougarou when they welcome in the Acadiana Cane Cutters Friday, July 11th. That's next Friday. Food and beverages will be provided. Register today under the contest page at 1045ESPN.com. Correct. Not .net. I'm looking at LouisianaSports.net. It's not LouisianaSports.net. It's on 1045ESPN.com. How was your vacation, Musso?
Beck, vacation was really good.
I mean, as you talked about with Shea, obviously the first few days really, really good. Really
yeah. I mean, get into Destin around 4:18 Saturday.
I remember we had you on the Hunt Palmer show.
Yes, Hunt's pregame show. I called in from where was I at that point? I think I was
in Niceville.
Yeah, so I was about an hour out. Great timing there on that. Enjoyed the convo with Hunt. Settled in, man. We got everything unloaded. Popped a cold one. Watched a Kate Anderson CG shut piece. Got the day started on the beach Sunday. Went up about 1:15. Watched LSU win a natty. Did a post-game show. And from that point forward, sir, it was just complete and utter relaxation. I mean, there was just nothing. There was just nothing else. Weather was great at the beach, which is always.
You never know.
We've been blessed because we go the same week every year. We've been blessed the last few years with some really, really, really good weather. The water for 3 days was fantastic. The next 3, not as much. A little rough there with some seaweed action.
Yeah,
didn't really get into the water much Thursday and Friday. But man, you talk about spend hours out in the Gulf on Saturday or on Monday, Tuesday. It was great. Played some golf. Played Kelly Plantation.
All right, there you go.
Yep. Played Kelly for the first time.
Course.
Actually, it was great, man. It was in fantastic shape. Really liked the course. Loved the Honeycrisp apples from the ice chest on number 10. Is the
best. A nice touch.
Best apple I've ever eaten in my life.
Especially when it's 95 degrees outside.
Brother, that's okay. That would actually be the one, like Friday, outside of the water being terrible, is the worst I've ever seen the Destin water look. It looked like one of those green smoothies that people drink.
Oh, yeah.
It looked like just a bunch of ground up kale and spinach. Like, it was horrible. Outside of that, it was the perfect beach day, though, because there was no rain. It was partly cloudy, so you got plenty of sun. It was only 87 degrees, and there was a constant breeze. The rest of the week, it was like 93 with no breeze.
Yeah.
And one of those days was the golf day. And, yeah, you get there. Like, I dug into the bottom of that ice chest and pulled out an apple, and it was just the greatest thing ever. That was a nice touch. Yes.
It is.
So thoroughly enjoyed the experience there. What I will tell you, though, is this is the longest I've ever been out since starting here.
Yeah.
Like, if you add in the weekend days, I was gone for 10 days. Waking up this morning was kind of a shock to the system.
Man, that's tough.
Because there was one alarm, there was 2 alarm sets over that entire 10 days. One was to leave
to go to the beach, or to go to the beach and then to watch the game.
No, and then to go wake up and play golf.
Okay, yeah.
That was it. Like, even on the day we left, my mom just came in the room and was like, I need your help. It's time to get up. I was like, all right, that's fine. Last night, when I had to set my alarm, that was a shock to the system a little bit. But we woke up fine, man. And, I think, look, we did good. But, I mean, that was, ended up with a few more extra vacation days this year. And I was like, let's use them. Let's use them to the fullest.
Gotta use them, yeah.
Yeah, I'll just take an extra day on the back end of the vacay. And, I'll tell you, having those 2 buffer days.
Oh, yes.
Because that was the other thing, Beck. We made great time both ways. We made great time. That ride back can always suck, man.
It can.
It always feels longer. 5 hours, 28 minutes. Not bad. That thing's taken 7 hours before, given traffic.
Mm-hmm.
We hit rain in every state. Didn't matter. I got to drive straight through for the first time. Normally my family makes me stop.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't have to stop. Loved that. I've always wanted to do that because that's just the way I roll on road trips. I want to stop as least amount of times as possible, unless there's a Buc-ee's in the path.
Right.
Then I'm stopping at Buc-ee's. But on the way home, got to drive straight through. So it was great, man. Came back home, spent a couple days with the girlfriend. It was good. It was good vacation. How did everything go here while I was away? Yes?
Well, Paulie, me and Paulie were holding down the fort here for a bit.
Yeah.
On AFR, and then of course Taylor hosting, and so last week was after Matt left, it became a ghost town.
Oh yeah.
And then this week is a bit of a ghost town as well, I think, with a lot of people out. But last week there was not a lot going on here. We were just in here, counting down the hours for the week because it was a long stretch there for us on the production side.
This is a great time in the calendar because you have everyone's like beach vacation, so everyone here is like pulling extra weight, but now you get to 4th of July. So it's a longer weekend for everybody. Like this is and LSU obviously did us a favor and won a national championship. So that gives you a bunch of extra content. Now you have all the portal stuff. So and football season's in full gear. There's no it's not a total barren wasteland. Dog days of summer, right? But now everyone has something to really kind of look forward to with 4th of July coming up. It's like, okay, we can all just exhale after Ghost Town, like you said. So that'll be good. But yeah, steak dinner. Had a really good steak dinner. That was
in Florida.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I've never gone to a really fine dining place over there. I usually just cook at the place, or we'll go like once, but not anything too crazy.
So that's what we do. So like, there's a lot of prepared meals throughout.
Yes.
We pick one night, and it's normally a Thursday, and we go out to eat, and we normally try to pick and normally it's something that you can't necessarily get at home.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But you can't always swing that. Like last year, we went to this nice little Italian place that was out there. I don't remember the name of it, but it was very good. They made a great old fashioned, actually. And this year it was steak. My one of my sisters, she was not happy that it wasn't like it was a place we could get at home type deal.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, we were sitting down at dinner. I was like, well, Michelle wants something local next year. We can always just go to Fuddpuckers because it doesn't get any more local.
There you go.
Doesn't get any more local in Destin than Fuddpuckers. So maybe that's what we'll do next year. Probably not, but maybe. Yeah, man. Just a good time. Just a good time. You gotta love it. Gotta love it. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day to all who celebrate as well. That's today. Another 1.19 million for old Bobby.
How many years does he have left now?
2035.
Okay. It just feels like every year it's like, all right, it's got to be getting close, and he's still got 10 more years left.
2035. Yeah.
Oh man.
It's it's not all that. Like Manny Ramirez got paid from the Boston Red Sox today again.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
He's got one more year. Now his is also like $8 million.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But it does happen to others besides Bobby Bonilla. I think it's really just because people like to make fun of the Mets.
Yes, that helps a lot.
I think that's why. Like I really, really do.
What would you if you just got a paycheck every year for $1.19 million for like 15 years? What would you do? Would you just put all of it into savings, or would you just quit? Like, because I mean, theoretically, if you're getting if you're getting $1 million a year for like 20 years, that's $20 million. You could live off of $20 million pretty comfortably, I think.
Yeah, you could. I would give you the answer that everyone gives about winning the lottery.
Yeah.
You would never know, but there would be signs. Right? There'd be signs. I might be pulling up certain days in like a convertible.
Yeah.
And not my truck.
Right.
I love my truck, but, might have a little convertible. Definitely some investments. I would not quit because I have to work. Like, I'm just that type of person.
Yeah.
I'd go crazy.
Maybe a couple of weeks in Boston to see the Red Sox.
There you go. Yeah. A couple more vacations would be mixed in there because I do love my vacation, as we just established. But I would have to do something. Like, I would have to work in some capacity. And I love what I do here. So, I mean, you'd still see me here. Like, that's what it would be, Beck. You'd never know, but there would be signs. Like, you'd be like, man, Moose might be having a little something extra come in on the side. I mean, what about you? Like, what would you do?
Ooh, man, that's tough. I think I would. I think I would probably not. I wouldn't have a job, I think, but I think that I would still. I really like to write, so I'd probably just go live somewhere, like maybe on a beach or somewhere, and just write. Like maybe try to write a book or something. I don't know. Just kind of hang out and not. I'm not one of those where I feel like I need to work. I could just kind of just relax and do something. Like, I'm not just gonna, I'm not gonna do nothing, but I could do that though, for sure.
I would definitely play more golf.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I don't get to play nearly as much golf as I would like to.
Yes,
I would definitely play more golf if I had Bobby Bonilla set up and just got $1.19 million every July 1st for 10 more years. He's living off the New York Mets. Man, how about that? Good for him. All right, we're going to grab a break. Come back. We will close out a Tuesday edition of AFR next. Stay here.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured and it's not your fault, do what injured people in Louisiana have done for more than 30 years. Call Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. 888-8888. It's all 8s. 888-8888. I don't even need to give you the area code because no matter where you are in the state, it doesn't matter. Just dial 888-8888 for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Gordon does an awesome job, man. He's a great person. They've been so invested in our communities with all the charitable and service work that they do. They give back into the communities that they represent, no matter what time of year. If it's the bike giveaway for kids around Christmas time, if it's the laptop giveaway around back to school time, if it's the charitable work they do during October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, they're always involved in the community. We tell you all the time, of course, about the G Team and what Gordon's done with NIL and the opportunities that he's afforded student athletes. Just a great, great community partner. If you've been injured, you need representation, go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Brought to you by Parrish Construction and Roofing. The Louisiana legislature is in session, and there's actually a bill right now that would eliminate door knockers in Louisiana, make it illegal for roofing companies to go door to door knocking to solicit business. As members of the Louisiana Roofing Contractors Association at Parrish Construction and Roofing, we wholeheartedly endorse that legislation because we will never door knock. That's also such a way that some of the less reputable companies get around and take advantage of people. And we hear about it every year during storms. And you have out of town companies come in. If you need a roof repair, replacement, you got an issue, ignore the door knockers. Call a reputable company that's been in the community, that's community related, community based. We'd love it if you give us the opportunity to earn your business. We're never coming to knock on your door. When you're ready and you want to give us a shout, we'd be more than happy to help in every way that we can. Go to the homepage of our website. You see a testimonial from Coach Kim Mulkey right there. We've done work for Coach. Do business with someone you know. Coach Mulkey did. We'd love to help you as well. Parrish Construction and Roofing. Go to parrishbuilt.com, parrishbuilt.com.
All right, no auto locks today, but to close it out, we will do a little bit of betting here as we would normally do. BetOnline.ag released a pretty cool prop bet, a pretty cool futures bet. Odds to win Super Bowl and MVP. Like Kansas City Chiefs, your champion. Patrick Mahomes, your regular season MVP combined. It's happened, for what it's worth, $11 times previous in the NFL. The last time was 2023 when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl and Patrick Mahomes was your regular season MVP. Co-favorites here, the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, the Bills and Josh Allen, both at 20-1 at betonline.ag to win Super Bowl and regular season MVP. Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow, if you're curious, 66-1. They're right behind the Chiefs and Mahomes. They have the same odds as the Eagles and Jalen Hurts and the Commanders and Jaden Daniels. All of those teams, Bengals, Burrow, Eagles, Hurts, Commanders, Daniels at 66-1. There is nobody on the Saints on this, if you're curious, nor should there be. But that's what it is. Although the New York Jets and Justin Fields are at 1,000-1. I feel like if we're going to put the Jets and Justin Fields on there,
we can throw Saints and Tyler Shuck on there.
That's what I'm thinking, right? I mean, if we're going to give credence to the Las Vegas Raiders and Geno Smith at 1,000-1.
Yeah.
I feel like we could throw the Saints on there.
Perhaps the only reason that there isn't is because it isn't 100% clear if it's going to be Shuck or Rattler.
Or Rattler, maybe. But I mean, is it?
I mean, it's free money for anybody. I mean, if any sucker wants to bet on Geno Smith to win the Super Bowl and the MVP, then I mean, go for it.
I'm just not in the business of putting American currency on Geno Smith very often. I'm not going to say it'll never happen, but it doesn't happen very often.
He's solid.
The Bengals are on this list a second time. Bengals twin Jamar Chase, who regular season MVP. That's 10,001, as are the Minnesota Vikings and Justin Jefferson. Also 10,001 as well.
Vikings are not very good, though.
No, they're not. I think that's who took the Saints spot, honestly. I think,
probably.
I think it was that. I mean, we got the Falcons and Bijan Robinson, the Falcons and Michael Penix. And by the way, the Falcons and Michael Penix, 500-1. Not as long as you. Yeah.
They're expecting 1,000 there.
And I guess, but no. We'll see. Ravens and Lamar Jackson, Bills and Allen, 20-1. Your favorites there. Just thought that was interesting. Pass it along. That's going to wrap it up here for a Thursday edition of AFR. Thank you to Shea Dixon. Thank you to Jake Madison. Thank you to Beck. Thank you to Paul. Thank you to all of y'all for being here as well. Be here next time for more on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by First South Farm Credit. You know where to start. Your first call, your first visit, your first option when it comes to buying land in Louisiana is First South Farm Credit. And honestly, it doesn't even have to be land in Louisiana, because First South Farm Credit can help you buy land in any of the contiguous 48. And they've got more than 40 branches in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. So if you're right here in the Southeast, there's First South Farm Credit locations all near you. But remember, like, for example, let's say a lot of our audience in New Orleans, of course. You're living in New Orleans, maybe you're starting to build a family, grow a family. You want to move to the North Shore like a lot of people do. You want to buy the 100 acres in Tangipahoa. You can. And First South Farm Credit can help because they have an office in Amite. So you can walk in there. You can do business with someone who talks like you, lives where you live, and help you buy land wherever you want to buy land in the contiguous 48. It's First South Farm Credit. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call, your first option should be First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Cavon office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Cavon have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we